everyone, this is Renault, and today I'm just going to do a quick video about the concept of the soft bigotry of low expectations and what learned about it from Crash Bandicoot 4, of all things. So, for those of you who don't know, the soft bigotry of low expectations is a general phrase that means that for the pursuit of diversity, often standards are the door is not just opened, which is what people actually anticipate or expect when it comes to things like college applications or jobs or anything like that. Not just opening the door and giving a look to otherwise qualified people who would otherwise be underrepresented. It means actually lowering the standards for them and expecting less from people that these types of programs and initiatives try to help whenever they are created. And what that means is that, let's say, whenever a diverse person is supposed to be presented in a new video game, for example, Crash Bandicoot, instead of giving them a all new in-depth backstory or fleshing them out as a new character, what'll happen is they'll just give them a skin, change the skin colors, change the gender, and then call it a day, and say, "Well, there you go. We've done it. We've created diversity, and there you go." And we see that a lot in video games, especially, or in comic books. For example, the most infamous example would be Riri Williams, who previously was on the Iron Man comic. Even though Iron Man was never featured in it, she went by the name Ironheart. But the point is, she was a generally bad character, but she was just there to be black and a girl. And again, she engaged in terrible things. She engaged in routine criminal behavior. She engaged in just things that are not heroic. She was in it not to be a hero. She was in it for her own sense of self-aggrandizement, quite not metaphorically, but literally. And so that's what we mean by that's an example of the soft bigotry of low expectations, where the progressives and the media praised Riri Williams for merely existing, even though her character itself was terrible. So you may be asking, well, how does that tie into Crash Bandicoot 4? Excuse me, not 2. Crash Bandicoot 4. And so, it's a new game. It's pretty hot. I like to watch Twitch walkthroughs and Let's Plays, etc. And I was watching someone play Crash Bandicoot, and I was like, there's the alternate dimension Tawna, and she has her own gameplay mechanics. There's a character named Dingo Dial, and he has his own gameplay mechanics. There's Dr. Neocortex, he's a playable character as well, and he has his own gameplay mechanics. And so I was looking at this stream, and then I just, asked the question in chat, all these other characters have their own gameplay mechanics. And so this character here, Coco Bandicoot, she's on the left behind Crash Bandicoot here. And, why is she in the game? What's the point? And so I was talking about gameplay mechanics. And the reason why I was asking that is because she plays exactly like Crash Bandicoot. That's not me speculating. It's well documented, actually. She plays like Crash Bandicoot. So let's go do a quick read of this first paragraph here. To play as Crash Bandicoot's sister, Coco, all the player has to do is complete the first 2 stages of the game. From that point on, the player will be able to switch to Coco on the dimensional map for any stage. While Coco and Crash play identically, each character comes along with their own skins that players can unlock, etc., etc., etc. So again, I'm talking about gameplay mechanics. I ask in chat, what's the point of Coco Bandicoot? Because she plays exactly like Crash. And so then the Twitch streamer, him and his girlfriend, I don't know if he's a cuck or if it's just mutual respect or whatever, but then they go on 20 minutes about how representation is important. And then the girlfriend says, I heard about some girl who was almost in tears because finally she was able to play as Coco Bandicoot, as an equal in Crash. Well, again, when I asked the question, what's the point? It was during a conversation about gameplay mechanics, not why is this girl in the game, because like I mentioned, there's another character named Tawna Bandicoot. She's in the game as a playable character with her own playable mechanic. She plays very differently from all the other characters, etc., etc. So I was utterly baffled that this required 20 minutes of, hey, let people enjoy things. Women are finally being represented, even though there is a woman in the game already with her own mechanic, and etc. And I'm like, what? Someone was brought into tears because you could finally play as a Crash's equal? Well, Coco Bandicoot is not Crash's equal. First of all, because she's Crash Bandicoot's derivative. Not metaphorically, but literally. She wasn't even in the first game. They had to retcon a lot of the history in Crash Bandicoot 4 just to kind of shoe her history into the game. And there was already a female character with her own gameplay and her own mechanics who was a better representation. So it made no sense to me why Coco is being a playable character is just so important when she's literally a derivative of Crash Bandicoot. And then that's where this soft bigotry of low expectations come in. Whenever these diversity initiatives or programs or whatever are praised or hailed or held up as props, it's almost the antithesis of what people look for. Like, people like me, anyway, look for. I look for, well, is this person their own character? Is this person their own creation? Are they good enough to stand on their own? But in this modern era with the soft bigotry of low expectations, that's literally rejected. And what I mean is, when you think about it, amazing, strong, powerful, independent characters like Sarah Connor from the Terminator series, Samus Aran from Metroid, and what's the other girl's name? Lara Croft from Tomb Raider. God, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank. Ellen Ripley from Alien. These are all strong, independent characters that everyone likes who watches these films, but these strong, independent women, and there are, of course, so many others, but I don't have all day. The point is, these are some of the best strong, independent female characters, and they are literally never referenced for being strong, independent characters. It's always, always, always these derivative efforts, the low effort creations. Like, for example, Coco plays almost identically as Crash, but yet she's held up as the pinnacle of finally a girl is equal to Crash. Well, there's Tawna Bandicoot from the alternate dimension. She's, as a character, is actually better than Coco, but she's not the one. She's not the one held up. And so you see this all the time, like I mentioned Riri Williams, but it's all throughout comics, it's all throughout television, it's all throughout video games. This soft bigotry of low expectations, and I just, like, that chat where Coco was being hailed as just magnificent character, when in reality she's just a giant walking plot hole, because it makes Crash, so she's a plot hole because Crash Bandicoot was trained and engineered and designed to be the leader of Neocortex's super animal army. Crash got additional powers from the Cortex Vortex, but it failed. And so that's where a lot of his power and stamina and everything else comes from. Coco Bandicoot did not go through that process. So why does she play like Crash? Why does she have all the same abilities as Crash? Again, she's not a good character, she's just a derivative. And here's another example that I was talking about earlier where the actual standards for diversity, etc., it's not just a matter of opening the door and giving a look to underrepresented groups. It's actually about lowering standards, and here is an example of that. Not metaphorically, but literally lowering the standards. SJWs want medical schools to lower standards to meet diversity goals. So it used to be that when a black or a Hispanic or an Asian or a woman wanted to get into something where it's predominantly white male, it would be like they're not even getting looked at, and that's not fair. And that's correct. That isn't fair. It's not fair that they're not even being considered. Now there's a lot more. I'm not going to go ahead and say it's fully equal, but there's a lot more equal footing. But that's not what the SJW and progressive agenda wants. They don't want an equal footing. They want lower standards. I'm not really going to go through the article because that's not really the point. The point is, progressives and progressivists, they don't want equality. They want a lower standard for themselves, and they want to just overthrow the establishment as it is instead of unjustifiably so, without actually earning it. COPPA Bandicoot did not earn the right to be Crash Bandicoot's equal. She didn't go through the Cortex Vortex. She didn't go through the other experimentation. She went through some, but Crash Bandicoot going through that Cortex Vortex and being a failed experiment is why he has so many of his abilities. Coco is just there. That's what I mean by unearned things. And so, anyway, that's just some. It's been bugging me. I had to talk about how COPPA Bandicoot kind of epitomizes the soft bigotry of low expectations, superficial diversity that just is plaguing everything. And I just had to get it off my chest because, I mean, it's been everywhere. It's everywhere you look. But this was the straw that broke the camel's back when she gets praised. COPPA Bandicoot here getting praised when she's not even the strongest and best female character in this game, but she's the one. She's the most completely superficial example of diversity, I guess. And keep in mind, I understand they're bandicoots, so, you know. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. Hit that like button and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.